Hi, thank you for joining me for yoga for pickleball. My name is Jody, and I'm recording this for the York County Library in South Carolina. In pickleball, we make a lot of directional changes. There's a lot of rotation. There's a lot of quick movements. So one, we need to have a really well-rounded range of motion, which we will work on today, but we also need to have flexibility, which we will also work on, and of course, balance. So we'll be covering all of those today in yoga for pickleball. So you will need a mat or a towel. We will be on our knees briefly. So if you need an extra cushion or a knee pad, you can reach for that. And a block is optional. And if you don't have a yoga block, a small firm couch cushion or pillow could work just as well. So let's go ahead and find a standing position. This is called mountain pose. We're going to pick our toes up. And then as you go to set them down, you're going to spread them as wide as you can, really creating a nice firm base. We're going to roll our shoulder blades up, down, and back. So we're actually dropping our shoulder blades down towards our back pockets, actively stretching fingertips towards the mat. With your next inhale, begin to lengthen through the spine, reaching as tall as you can. Exhaling, left ear comes to the shoulder. Inhaling back to center and exhaling other side. Looking for that point where we feel a very mild tension. So there's never discomfort or pain when we're stretching or doing yoga. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn the nose, looking over our left shoulder. Inhale, center. And exhale, other side. Inhale back to center. And let's take a big sweeping motion, reaching arms all the way up overhead. Even bigger exhale. When we practice yoga, it's all about linking our breath to our movements. So feel free to wait for your next inhale. You don't necessarily have to be matching my pace because our breath cycle is going to be a little bit different. On our next inhale, go ahead and interlace fingertips together at the top, pressing the palms up as high as you can, then reaching to our left, pressing weight into the outer edge of your right foot, opening up our side body. Breathing as we hold, inhaling center and exhaling other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, palms come out in front. So side view, I'm actually rounding through my upper back, pushing shoulder blades apart, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, take your gaze up, little baby back bend. Lift the chin. Sometimes in pickleball, we have to look up if we're getting lobbed. They sometimes hit it over our head. And inhale back to center. Exhale, releasing hands to heart center. Go ahead and take your feet nice and wide. We're going to line our toes up at a 45-degree angle. So the toes are pointing towards the corners of your mat. And we're going to inhale, arms high into a 5-point star. Exhale, sink down into the heels, squeezing our shoulder blades together. This is a moonflower. So we're going to inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Good. With repetition, you might find that as we start to create heat and get warm, you can drop your tailbone down a little bit lower. So if that happens and your knees are no longer tracking right on top of your heels, go ahead and take a wider stance. Let's do one more. And then we're going to turn that into a sunflower. So we inhale up, exhale, hinge from the hips, sweep the arms, side view, inhale, lift. Exhale, sweep, and try to alternate which arm crosses in front each time. And if you have the chance to practice outside, I really encourage it. Listening to nature, it's beautiful. Let's do one more. And then we'll bring our hands to heart center and move into a standing extension. Bring your feet so they're parallel now with the edges of your mat. So our toes are pointing straight ahead. And then you can either take a palm on each side of your spine or make a fist. Engage the core. Pull the belly in tight. We really need a tight core in pickleball that keeps us safe when we're doing our rotational movements and our quick side lateral movements. We're going to work on lengthening our spine with each inhale, and then we're going to start to exhale into a back bend, creating extension through the spine. This can be as small or as big as you want. So each inhale, stand up taller. Each exhale, take it a little bit deeper. Now, once you've reached your endpoint, you can pause and breathe there. Make sure that your face and your neck are completely relaxed. Let's take in one more deep breath. And then we'll slowly make our way back up to the center. Walk the hands around to the front of your hips and then hinge here and release all the way down into a forward fold. Now, if your mat is feeling really far away, this would be a good place to use your block. We're going to work our way a little deeper into this fold by walking our fingertips through the legs and reaching to the back edge of your mat. So that will take the crown of your head a little bit closer to your mat. Now, if this is feeling forced or strained, go ahead and back off. Inhale, bring the palms back under your nose and start to walk them to the other side as far as you can, spreading fingertips wide and then making a wide-legged downward facing dog. So really pressing through the palms, pressing the hips back, lengthening here through the spine. Deep breaths in, at least 3. You may feel a release if you feel kind of a pop or a clunk, or maybe even you hear something, but there's no pain, then that's good. It's okay. You just got a little self-adjustment. Inhale, start to bring the palms back to your mat. If you don't have a block, this is where your small, firm cushion can come in handy. Even if you're comfortably reaching your mat, I'm going to ask that you take your block or your cushion and place your left palm under your nose directly in front of you. This is going to set us up in more of a neutral spine, which is safer when we move into our spinal twist. Let's inhale our right fingertips high and exhale, release. Inhale, left palm up. Keeping the core engaged even as we twist. Exhale, release. And again, inhale, right palm up. Exhale, release. Inhale, left palm up. Exhale, release. We're going to go one more time to the right, and this time we're going to pause for at least 3 full cycles of breath. With each exhale, we're actively pulling our right shoulder back a little deeper into the twist, or maybe even finding your bind if that feels okay. Breathing deeply. And on our next exhale, slowly unwind, come back to the center, and inhale our left palm up, pausing here for several deep breaths, pulling the shoulder back farther or finding the bind, breathing. One last deep breath in. We'll exhale, slowly release back to the center. Let your head and neck start to hang heavy at the very end of your spine, releasing and then gently nodding your head yes and shaking your head no. Inhale your way back up into a flat back position, and let's slowly bend one knee. So I'm bending one knee as I stretch and lengthen through the inner thigh of the opposite leg. We're going to slowly switch, bending our opposite knee, and then you can decide what your pace is as you slowly make your way back and forth. Maybe it feels a little bit better to hold each side at least 2 or 3 breaths. That's fine. Maybe you want to flow and change with each breath. That is also okay. Our inner thighs are used a lot on the court with those directional changes, so very important to lengthen and stretch them back out. And maybe you're not yet a pickleball player. Maybe you have not tried it yet and you just decided to try this video. After this video, maybe you'll feel ready to give pickleball a try. After you've done one more on each side, we're going to slowly come back to the center, and I'm just going to walk my hands around to the top of my mat, aiming my back foot at a 45-degree angle, and then sitting up into warrior one. So our front knee is bent, back heel at our 45-degree angle, and then you can bend the front knee a little bit deeper. Now in warrior one, it's really important to keep our hips square to the front of the mat. So if you had a headlight on each hip, they're shining straight ahead. Hands can be at heart center. We can have goalpost arms, or we can reach straight up. But if you're wearing your shoulders as earrings and you can't relax your shoulders, you're going to be better at heart center or goalpost. On our next exhale, see if you can sink the hips a little bit closer to the mat, deepening the warrior base, but check your toes. So I'm looking over my knee, I can still see my toes. Side view. Knee stacked right on top of the heel. If that's not happening and your knee's going way out over, we probably need to widen our stance. From here, we're going to open up into warrior two. Now, sometimes what happens when we shift our hips to the long edge of the mat, in warrior two, the knee tends to follow our hips. We don't want the knee in. We want to invite the knee to open up. So I'm stacking my knee right on top of my heel, and you can't see my back arm. So I've got neutral alignment with my upper body. So if my arm was out here, no good. We want it in a nice long line, breathing deep, and then creating dynamic tension with our upper body. So that means I'm stretching fingertips to opposite walls. And if I were to come and try to move your arm down, I wouldn't be able to because you're strongly holding your arms up. Inhale, palm lifts to the ceiling. We're going to reach up as high as we can and then back. This is called reverse warrior. Really focus on maintaining our deep warrior base and open the side body. Breathe into the stretch. Remember, if you notice that you have perhaps reverted to a shallower chest breath, or worse, if you're holding your breath, that means you're pushing a little bit too far for today. And it's okay to back off, even come out of the pose, kind of reassess how you feel, come back in, and then focus on your deep belly breathing. Let's inhale, bend this elbow, and then lift up and over into extended angle. Breathing as we hold this stretch. So side view, we're here. Good. Inhale, slowly lift back up upright, and let's straighten both legs. I'm setting up now for triangle. Both of my legs are straight. If you do have a block, I like using the block for this pose. You're going to shift your hip to the back of your mat as far as you can. Reach way out towards the front of your mat and then slowly lower down. So for some of us that have a lot of tightness, especially in the hamstring, which is common, you might be more comfortable placing your hand on your thigh. So we can really keep the body open. You can come a little bit lower, but avoid taking your hand right on top of the knee joint, so above or below, or even your block. The goal in triangle is to keep an open body. So stacking our shoulders, stacking our hips. A lot of times what happens, people try to reach too low and then I'm not open anymore. My body's closed, so I'm not getting a good stretch here at all. So you want to come a little bit higher so you can really open the chest. Breathe into it. Very good. Inhale back up into warrior two. You're going to step to the top of the mat. And then we'll take an opposite step back so that we find ourselves in warrior one on the opposite leg. So once again, our front knee is bent, heel is at a 45-degree angle behind us, and our hips are square. So you have the option for heart center, goalpost, or arms up and extended. Pick what feels right to you on this side. Exhale, drop your hips a little lower. Take your peek over your front knee. Make sure that you can still see the big toes. When you're ready, inhale, open up, warrior two. If your knee followed you in, let's bring it back on top of the knee, setting your arms up so you can't see them. If you're looking into the mirror, you can only see your front arm. can we exhale just a hair deeper into this warrior base, really challenging our leg strength as we hold and breathe. Inhale, bring the palm up, reach up high as far as you can go, and then into reverse warrior. And inhale, bend this elbow, reach up and over, extended angle. In extended angle, the core is actually quite engaged and doing a lot of work here. So I'm not really leaning into my thigh, but it's almost just resting here without really putting a lot of pressure in there. On our next inhale, begin to make your way back up into warrior two, straightening both legs for a triangle. If you need to step the back leg in just a little, you can. I'm going to show you a different angle of triangle. So first start by shifting your hip all the way back, reaching out towards the front of your mat, and then finding perhaps the thigh, the shin, or your block, and then really focus on opening up the shoulders. So it's almost like our bodies could fit into a slot of a toaster or between two panes of glass. So this looks a lot different than me trying to reach the floor, right? And closing my body. So remain open, breathe, and then you can decide where your gaze feels best. Do you feel like you're in a more resting, neutral position if you look down at your mat? Or maybe it's looking straight out or even up. No right or wrong, do what feels best. Let's use our next inhale to draw ourselves back upright, taking a big step to the top of our mat, and then moving on. So we're going to inhale, arms overhead, exhale, hinge from your hips, swan dive forward, pausing here in our forward fold, allowing the head and neck to become very heavy once again, gently nodding the head yes, shaking the head no. Option to stay here in a supported fold, reaching for your mat, or maybe it's your block, or hands come to the elbows, finding ragdoll. And if ragdoll is comfortable, it might feel good today to gently sway from side to side. Release slowly, bend the knees if you need to, take your palms to your mat, step or jump back into downward facing dog. So we're really pressing through the palms. We are lifting our hips high, and we're creating an inverted V. Because of all the direction changes and quick movements on the pickleball court, our calves can really suffer and get pretty tight. So let's stretch them out by gently bending one knee at a time, shifting our heel down as close as we comfortably can to the mat, back and forth. And then on our next inhale, we're going to slide into plank. Core strength is very important in pickleball. So we're sliding into plank, stacking our shoulders right on top of our wrists. And if it's too much, you're always welcome to drop right here onto your knees. So you can stay and hold plank, or we can work on some upper body strength by just doing 3 yoga push-ups. And a yoga push-up is hugging your elbows in tight to the side ribs. So it's almost like our elbows skim our ribs as we go down. Very nice. Take the right knee directly underneath your hip, and let's take the right palm and let's open up into a supported side plank. So we're working core, but also balancing. So this is a 3-point balance. And again, if you have a thin mat like me, it might feel better to have a little extra knee pad. So I've got 3 points connected to the mat, which is going to assist and help my balance. If you want to take it one notch higher, lift the top leg. Now it's a 2-point balance, a little more challenging. More challenging yet, find the bind. Bend the knee, find the foot, and if you can reach your foot, push the foot into the palm of the hand, creating spinal extension and also opening up the shoulder, and the front of our chest. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release. And we're pressing up and away, coming into gate pose. So gate pose, I'm just going to slide my fingertips down towards my heel. And we're going to start to flow with this. I like to use my block at the top of my mat right here. So with the inhale, we will reach the top of the mat, stretching as far as we can, and then we exhale back into gate pose. Inhale, stretch to the front, and exhale, stretch to the back. Again, you're moving with your breath, so feel free to take your time, go as slow as you need to. Never any hurry to get anywhere in yoga. Last one, we will take our hands down to the mat and we're on all fours. We're going to go into cat-cow here. So we're going to inhale, drop the bellies low, turn the gaze up, and then exhale as we tuck and round. At this point in our practice, we should be pretty warm with increased range of motion. So feel free to really challenge yourself, push through, articulating each and every vertebrae, and really making it count. One more to each side. Come back to neutral and let's go into side lateral flexion where we inhale, peek over one side, squeeze the hip in, exhale, move to the other. And if you want to make that a little bit bigger, you can even pick the feet up and move them side to side as you peek over the shoulder. One more, please, on each side. When you've ended on the opposite side you started with, you can have a seat in child's pose. Begin to walk your hands to the left side of the mat, pressing your right hip to the outer edge. Come back to the center, walking the hands to the right, pressing our left hip to the outer edge. Come back to the center, leave the palms where they are, spread the fingertips wide, creating your starfish hands, and let's come back up into downward facing dog. Last downward facing dog of the day. Go ahead and inhale, slowly moving back into plank one more time. Pausing here. If you need to drop to your knees, that's perfectly okay. If you choose to do 3 yoga push-ups, this is your last chance. Hugging your elbows in nice and tight. And then dropping, should be your left knee down. We're going to move into our balancing side plank on the opposite side. I'm just giving you a different angle. So you're on the side that we did not do. I've got 3 points down, but I'm going to lift my leg, making it 2. And then if you chose the bind on the first side, you can do that again here. Really push the foot into the palm, opening up the chest and the shoulder. And then exhale, releasing the leg, gently pressing away from your mat and shifting into gate pose. Fingertips sliding down towards the heel. When you're ready, we begin to flow. Inhale, reaching to the front of your mat. Close the distance with the block if you'd like. Exhale, reaching to the back. Inhaling to the front. Exhaling to the back. Let's do one more to each side. And the next time you're coming to the top of the mat, walk your hands around, coming into all fours one more time. And let's just do a couple more cat-cows, flexing and extending. Good. Slowly release all the way over onto your right hip. So I have both knees bent, kind of like a pinwheel sit or creating like two letter Z's. This is called deer pose. And we're going to work on opening up a little bit deeper into our hip. So you're going to slowly walk your way out into a forward fold, or if you're really tight in the back, you might be limited. It may have to be stacked up somewhat with your block. Or if you're really open today, you might try to reach diagonally across that knee and walk out even farther. Whatever your endpoint looks like is perfectly okay. Breathe into it. We will inhale, come back up, find cobbler's pose so our feet come together, and take another fold. Opening up our inner thighs. Inhale, lift back up, and let's come into our pinwheel sit on the opposite side. So coming back into that Z sit, option to come straight out into your fold or walk diagonally across the knee, working your way a little deeper, maybe to your forearms, maybe with your block, or even stacking your fist and then resting your forehead here. Again, no right or wrong, just whatever feels right to your body today. Inhale, slowly make your way back upright. One more core exercise, since core is so important in pickleball. Belly button in towards our spine, fingertips behind us, pointing in towards our hips, and we're going to come into Navasana, which is boat pose. So if it's a new pose for you, you might just stay here and alternate your legs. Maybe you can leave your hands down, add your legs like this. Core is really engaged, really working. Maybe you can add your arms, but focus on a nice long spine, flat back, high chest. Maybe you can even straighten your legs. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, let's meet in reverse tabletop, really stretching out the front side of our body, our chest, our shoulders. Exhale, see if you can push your hips up another inch or two higher. And then we exhale, slowly tuck our tailbone under and gently make our way all the way down onto our backs. Finding a full body stretch, arms reaching overhead, legs stretched out in front of us. And then we're going to slowly pull our arms into our sides, shoulder blades come a little bit closer, making our way into our final resting pose for Shavasana, or final relaxation. Body temperatures do tend to drop towards the end of practice, so if you'd like to add another layer, go ahead and reach for that now, and then settle in, closing your eyes, allowing yourself this time to seal in all the benefits of everything we've done today, and giving ourselves a few minutes to let our minds and our bodies simply be. Keeping your eyes closed, but slowly start to bring your awareness back into the space. Remember, as we move on with our day, it's good to embrace distraction. It is a part of life. Let's focus on gratitude today, and let's end our practice by naming one thing that you can be grateful for. Anything at all that happened today. And it could be something as simple as taking the time out to practice yoga today. Keeping that in our mind, we're going to slowly bend our knees and roll over onto our right side. Pausing here as long as you need to. And when you're ready, pressing our left palm into the mat. Making your way back up into a comfortable seated position. Eyes can remain closed if you'd like. And we're going to finish with 2 last deep breaths. First one is a cleansing breath. So we'll take a big inhale through the nose, stretching our arms all the way up overhead, reaching high. Audible exhale through our mouth. And one last deep breath in, arms reaching overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful day.